starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's going on? What's going on to all my embracers? I know. I said, what's Embrace the Grace doing out here on a Tuesday? Well, that's because Grace Embraces is collaborating and working with other awesome podcasters. I got my colleague, Unfiltered Polo Blue. He's wrapping things up right now on his Instagram hour. He does an hour on Instagram, and then he comes over here to YouTube, and we take it from here. And we're going to be here every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'm just here to support him. I'm here to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that my boy gets where he wants to get, because at the end of the day, we have very like mindsets. We have very similar goals, and we trying to reach, educate, show people how to become better versions of ourselves. So with that being said, he will be here shortly. My name is Grace with Embrace the Grace, and you can definitely check out my show every Thursday night at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. I have my co-host Gary D from Boardwalk Global Media. And of course, my boy Unfiltered Polo Blue will be there. My other permanent fixture, my boy Smitty. So come check us out, because over here we have the uncomfortable, messy, awkward, but necessary conversations. That's what we're all about. And we're definitely about respecting each other. We try to learn from each other. We listen. We don't interrupt. We don't overtalk, and that's how we operate. As far as me, you can find me here, of course, on the YouTube channel. Please go like, subscribe, and share. Get caught up on some videos, get to know me, get to know my panelists, get to know my guests, get to know who I work with. Trust me, you would not be disappointed. And with that being said, you can find me on YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Snapchat. You can find me on WhatsApp. I'm all over. I get all the time people sending me videos, show ideas, emails, and I really appreciate with subscribing. Just really appreciate the support, the consistent support. It's really awesome, and I really appreciate it. So tonight, again, we're waiting on Unfiltered Polo Blue. The show is about values and standards. So I'm good. That's a good topic, and I think a lot of us, especially women, we have a lot of unrealistic standards, unrealistic expectations. We tend to forget that men are human too. Men are allowed to make mistakes too. Men are not perfect. We like to think that they are sometimes, or we like to think that they don't know shit. But at the end of the day, they built this infrastructure for us to live the comfortable life that we live. But not too many of us ladies, we respect, appreciate, or value men. And that's really sad. That's really sad, because at the end of the day, those are our protectors. Those are our providers. Those are our husbands, our fathers, our brothers, our grandfathers, our uncles, our cousins. They're the ones that lay the foundation in the streets for us to be able to drive comfortably. They're the ones that make sure the drainage and the sewer system is comfortable. They're the ones, as soon as the lights go out, are in the little bucket going all the way up there, trying to make sure we have lights and we can charge our phone and we can cook and we can use our computers. We don't see all that because you know why? We take it for granted. We only notice things like this when we don't have them, and it's a shame. We as humans, I'm not just saying men. Again, yes, my channel is about advocating for men, but at the end of the day, I am a woman and I will stand for women, but I will not stand by your bad behavior, your self-entitlement, your self-absorbedness, your selfishness. No, I won't do it. I will absolutely won't do it. And it's funny because the other day I was thinking about this. I said, it's funny how I advocate for men so much, and I've been disappointed and hurt by men. But does that mean I give up on them? Does that mean I categorize them in all in the same space? Because us women, we're not perfect either. We're not good all the time either. We're not honest all the time either. We're not right all the time either. We're so busy pointing fingers and telling our men how much they suck and they ain't shit that we really take the time to see within ourselves and look within ourselves and see what's wrong with us instead of so busy pointing fingers at others. Like I've seen young girls, they'll curse the hell out they men in public. And the fact that men put up with that is sad. And they know that they can't do nothing. They know they can't put your hands on them because you'll turn around and use a system against them. We gotta stop doing that. We really do. We have all these high expectations and standards for a man, but what about you? You want a man to bring to the table this, that, 2/3 of this, 5/10 of that. But what are you bringing to the table? You think vagina is enough? You think that's enough to bring to a man? You don't want to cook. You don't want to clean. You don't want to take care of the kids. A lot of us want to drop them off at grandma's house or babysitters. Yeah, I'm putting this all out there. And let me give y'all a disclaimer. One, I am not a licensed psychiatrist or a licensed therapist. I am talking from experience. I am talking from other experiences. I am talking from things that I've seen, been through, and seen other people go through. That's where this is coming from. And if it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if that shit does apply to you, then wear it, own it. And if you're feeling some type of way, whenever you feel conversations here and things that my co-hosts say or my panelists say, and we must have touched a nerve. Something must have happened. We must be saying some type of truth. We embrace the truth here. Your truth. I embrace my truth. You embrace your truth. So we can be truthful. But another thing that I've learned in life is people want the truth. People ask for the truth, but they can't handle the truth. You want a real man, but you got fake hair on, you got fake nails on, you got fake eyelashes on, you got a fake booty, you got fake breasts, but you want a real man. And look, I'm just as guilty too. I'm starting to letting go of the eyelashes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just as guilty, and I'm not perfect, but I'm just putting stuff out there. I'm putting stuff out there that I've talked with men. I interview them, I talk to them, I learn from them, and I'm just trying to put it out there so we can become better version of ourselves, better wives, better girlfriends, better fiancés, better friends, better aunties, just better humans in general. because it's necessary. If anybody wants to, well, let's wait for the host of the show before anybody comes up here. Got to be respectful of that. I'm just trying to hold it down while he comes up. He gonna learn. I come on time. My thumbnail says 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. So he'll be here soon. I don't play. My ambition, and I give a 5-minute timer for the stragglers. But it's all good. Hey, this is his show. He like it. I love it. I'm just here for support, moral support. It's all good in the neighborhood. So yeah, speaking about truth, and then it also comes with communication. Good communication. A lot of us don't know how to communicate. A lot of us don't even know how to grammatically correctly write a text message. If it wasn't for autocorrect, a lot of us wouldn't even know where to put a comma or a period or how to spell a word. We've gotten so lazy. We have gotten so used to devices and machines doing our work and our thinking and even feeling that we can't get it together. I had to learn the hard way. I was a major texter. And I was a major texter because the job that I work on, I'm on the phone all day. I'm talking all day on the phone to people. Then I don't want to come home and have to talk at home. But I realized, hey, one thing has nothing to do with the other. It's crazy, right? I got checked. I got checked by my friends. I got checked by family members. I got checked by coworkers. You have to change your ways. You have to do better. And when I'm not doing good, I'm constantly getting checked. So it's crazy. We got to be able to stop with the social media. Stop thinking that these standards that we have for men is like social media. It's a false reality. It's not true. You've been tricked. You don't see people putting their worst moments on social media. You see all the great pictures, all the great moments for the most part. You only see the great part. You only see when they have the money to buy the Birkin, but at the rest of the month, they're struggling to pay rent. Can't feed their kids. But they got that Birkin. They got that Chanel. Credit at 378. No bueno. I mean, I could be wrong. Again, I'm just here trying to hold it down for the host of the show. His topic tonight is standards and values, and let's talk about values. I think our values are warped right now. We devalue things that are valuable, and we overvalue things that are not so valuable. And it's become a problem. It's indicative in the world that we live in today. It's totally obvious in the world that we live in today. People are so different. To me, I mean, I'm older, but I'm not that old. And it's just like, to me, it is night and day. It's from the dress code. It's from the music. It's from the food. Even education. It's different. They took out home economics and shop out of school, but they rather put provocative books in elementary school libraries and teach about sexual education. Oh yeah, they'll be well educated in sex, but they can't even boil water. You see what I'm saying? The standards and the values. We got to do better. Got to do better. Definitely got to do better. Still waiting. He's coming. Let me see if he's still on Instagram. Yep, he's still on Instagram. He'll be here soon. We see him on Instagram right now. Y'all go get him. Tell him and Embrace the Grace is waiting on him to come to his YouTube channel that was scheduled for 10 o'clock. Nah. But so let's keep going. I'm gonna ask, because I'm one to give information, not just sit here up here and talk my ish, you know. So let's get into it. Let's get into it, what the real definition of standard is. Okay? An idea or thing used as a measure, norm, or model in compatible evaluation. Used or accepted as normal or average. The standard rate. You know, is just the level of quality or attainment. Standards. How do you expect a certain standard if you yourself are not that standard? How do you expect expectations from certain people if you know, I see people all the time, they ask so much of a person, but they're not willing to do the same. How is that right? How does that make it fair? How is that cool? I don't get it. And make it make sense. Make it make sense for me. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then again, back to the values. We don't value things that are supposed to be valuable. The things that I see kids value nowadays are just not up to par. And I could be wrong, or I could be an old head, well, which I am, or I can be overreacting. You know, like I saw a video of a dance challenge with the Chub Rock song. And I'm like, you see, that's when music was good. When you can catch a vibe, you can bop your head, you can understand the words that are coming out of the rapper's mouth. The song actually has some substance. You can get to know the story that he's trying to tell. But the music today, I don't know. And I know that our parents used to say the same thing about my music. We had some stuff out there too, but it was crazy. It was crazy. But that's how it is. So now let's look up the definition of value and see how that plays into par. Okay. Let's see what that has to say. The regard that something is held to deserve the importance, worth, and usefulness of something. I'm gonna read it again so you guys can like really get into it. The regard that something is held to deserve the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. What is it that is so valuable to people? Materialistic things. Does it really give you value? Because all it really does is give you an adrenaline thrill, and make you feel good, and letting other people know you got that Chanel bag, but now you got to worry about how you're gonna pay rent next week. What is more valuable? Making sure rent get paid, or you get that Chanel bag? Because people will know much quicker that you got evicted from an apartment versus that you got a Chanel bag. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, if somebody has something different to say, let me know. We value things that shouldn't be valued. We gotta switch it around. We gotta value family. We gotta value our kids. We gotta value our significant others. Because that's what's gonna matter at the end. We gotta value our credit. I'm gonna have a show in a few weeks, and we're gonna have a nice class. I guess I'm gonna say class, and I'm gonna talk. We're gonna talk about credit. We're gonna talk about the importance of credit. We're gonna talk about how we can empower you, your family, because cash is king. But credit is power. That's when you really understand credit and you use it responsibly and you use good credit as a source of income and residual income and passive income. Oh, look who decided to pop up. Here we go, guys. Thank y'all for putting up with me for 27 minutes. I do appreciate it. I held it down because, we start here on time. But,
listen,
that's a whole
don't you start on shit. I don't care. I knew you was going to do
that. Because we 26. We're not going to air out our laundry in front of our embracers and
listen,
polo
no, ma'am. I don't work like that. If you talk shit, I'm talking shit back.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
So
how
if
the thing says 10 p.m., our subscribers and our audiences are expecting us to be here at 10 p.m., not at 10:27, because we will lose audiences, we will lose subscribers. Oh, they don't take it seriously. They late. I mean, I just need you to feel me on that. I really do. How do you feel when your employees show up late?
Right, but if my people are 30 people in my room.
Here we go, guys. Let's go.
If 30 people are in the room listening to me, then are they really over here?
No. But if you're trying to build something on YouTube and you've already committed to 10 o'clock on YouTube, you set the expectation and say, hey guys, I am going to be moving over on YouTube at 10 p.m. So around 9:50, we need to wrap it up and we need to move over to YouTube. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I appreciate your 30 viewers and everybody that's there, but I'm on that ride with you too now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm representing you, you're representing me. Bring them over to YouTube. Those 30 people in that conversation, we move over to YouTube. Why? Because we said 10 p.m. Eastern time. How would you feel if a movie started at 10:27 and you got there at 10 o'clock?
If I knew where he was, if I knew where she was, if I knew where they were and I knew what they were doing, if I knew what they were doing.
Well,
now, if I didn't know what they were doing and they're just randomly late, but if I knew where they were and what they were doing, I can't be like, oh, I wonder where they're at. Oh, I know exactly where he is.
Guys, we're moving over to YouTube. We have a show at 10 p.m. on the YouTube channel. Just like we did on Sunday. Didn't everybody move over to YouTube? Didn't I just, guys, I'm going to YouTube. See you later. 5:30. The show was scheduled for 4:30. I'm just saying, I want everybody to put in one in the chat if I'm right. Let's see what our people say. But anyway, can you, since you are the host of this show, I need you to introduce yourself. Tell people who you are so they can find you whether you're on time or late. So
yeah. So if that's going to be the case, I'm really simple. If that's the case, then this won't happen again. I can tell you that.
Also, you're saying you won't be late anymore.
No, I won't.
That's what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I'm having a great, intelligent conversation with a great guest like this here, you see this person here, if we're having an intelligent conversation.
Yeah. I didn't know there was a switch over until I got there, so that might be on me. My bad.
No, it's fine.
You see, that's the lack of communication. You should have already known the expectation. Look at Kiki Kennedy said, Polo Blue, you wrong.
I don't know who Kiki Kennedy is.
I just don't see how you don't see my view. Is like if we have a thumbnail and we telling our people we have a show at 10 p.m. that's what they're expecting. We got to give our people what we're expecting.
No. I'm sorry.
But
we're not on the same page.
If you want to,
it's not that I don't understand what you are saying about time value. What I'm saying is unacceptable for you to talk shit about me, knowing where I was. That's the issue that I have.
I didn't talk because I told if you watched the video, I didn't talk shit about you at all. I was saying, guys, he's on Instagram wrapping things up. I'm here holding it down. I never talked shit about you. If you watch the monologue, you'll see that I didn't talk shit about you. That's you now assuming and jumping into conclusions, sir. But that's okay. When you watch the video, you'll see it. So can we move on to the show now?
I'm like you. I'm gonna act like I'm from the Bronx or something. I'm gonna hold this grudge. I'm gonna ride this thing all the way.
Why do people always want to throw in New York and why people always want to throw New York or Massachusetts? This has nothing to do with that. Okay, I'll take the deflection. Let's go. Let's start.
Holly, where are you
We're on
from?
CPT time. Let's go.
I live down in Fort Lauderdale, but I'm actually originally from Tallahassee in Florida.
Okay, so Florida. Okay, cool. We get it. Yeah. All right, so listen, I'm just gonna jump in to where we were. I gotta get me a new camera. I got a nice laptop. It's touchscreen and all this stuff, but my camera between that and my iPhone is so different. I hate this view. I don't like it at all. But anyway, so we were talking about. Listen, your analogy for Samuel Jackson. Let me say, I get it. I just don't like that one because, like I said, he is the GOAT of Black actors. Like, there's no higher awarded, no more money made, no more films. Like, even when we thought that Morgan Freeman was doing well, Samuel Jackson's filmography and voiceovers and everything that he's done is so far, he's like Josh Gibson when it comes to he's the guy. But I get what you're saying. You're going to do things on your timeline based on how you feel and what's important to you. I get that.
Yeah.
So what do you say to women who are over 40 who are not necessarily as free with their time? They're like, they feel the pressure of, I need to go ahead and lock somebody down. I need to figure it out before it gets too far in the weeds at 50 or whatever the case.
I think the number one thing before they even start feeling that pressure, you gotta, in my opinion, I think you have to clearly define what it is you want, clearly defining your why, as well as knowing who you are in this current space and time. Because I think oftentimes I think there are people out there that will feel like they're off to the races, but then they don't understand their why. They don't even understand what they're looking for. They just looking for a warm body, a warm body to love and hug and give Christmas gifts to and stuff like that. So I think first and foremost, it ain't just necessarily women, but just people of a certain age that are still single. I think you need to understand your why. What is it that you're looking for? These attributes that your standards, why are these your standards? Are they rooted in your values? And once you figure that out, now you can determine like, hey, okay, now I got this figured out. I got a game plan. I got a vision, off to the races. I think that's the biggest thing, but sometimes we don't even give ourselves that grace to even figure out what it is we truly want. Hey, Grace, how are you? Because he did not introduce us. How are you? How are you tonight, darling?
I know, but I'm the rude one. I'm Grace from Embrace the Grace, Miss Holly. Nice to meet you, my dear.
Likewise, and I'm here on YouTube too at Over 40 Podcast, but the official title of the channel is This Over 40 Life. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
I fit the profile on 48. So.
Okay, so what would you say to women, Holly? What would you say to women who, because you mentioned earlier, you have done the work and or doing the work to be mentally prepared to have this free space to bring somebody in. What about those women who don't do the work? They're not. I'm saying it loosely, getting counseling. They're not. They like what you said. They want a warm body. They feel like, um, for lack of better terms, I gotta have somebody. There's those women who don't take breaks between men, and they just like, all right, next, come on.
I think there is an inherent emotional danger to that. Not understanding what, clearly defining what it is you want. Like, I'll go back to the example that I mentioned, or not. Actually, I have an anecdote story about it. So, I had a friend of mine. You know, she was an avid fan of The List, and anybody that's a single woman of a certain age, they used to tell us to write a list, write it down, know what exactly what you want in your future partner or whatever. And she had her list, and on that list, she was very adamant that this person had to be an entrepreneur, had to be successful, had to make a certain dollar amount, as we have talked about in the past. She got all of that. But what she didn't get is someone that was emotionally available. What she did not get was someone that had what she did get was someone who had a substance abuse problem. What she did get was someone that had unresolved issues with their, not even an ex-wife. They were still married. They were separated. So that's why I say you have to be mindful of those things that you're asking for, because you'll get them. But if you're not trying to manifest those things from a place of who you truly are, and from a place where you are completely, you have more of a higher level of self-awareness and self-reflection, you're going to get exactly what you put out, but it ain't going to be what you really want. So I think that's the number one thing right there, is really pumping the brakes a little bit, just a little bit. I ain't say go to a full stop, but truly do a self inventory of who you are, what it is you want, reflecting on those past experiences. I don't want to call them mistakes, because they all go towards growth. So I think that's the number one thing. If that requires you to get into therapy, which I'm a firm advocate of, because therapy allows us to understand things that might not be going right based upon past history, and being able to unlock that. Hell, if you need to get a life coach helps us in the present to build that foundation for our future. So if you need to go and do those things, do it. If that means go on a spiritual detox, look what are your religious beliefs? What do you need to do for yourself physically? What do you need to do for yourself emotionally? If you really want to understand what it is to do the work, look at those elements that makes up you as an entire person, and see where those deficiencies are. And once you started tapping into those deficiencies, because I'm not going to say you're going to be fully healed in a past tense. You're going to healing and journey. They go along. They're ever going. They're not going to stop until you die. So like, you have to start that process. And when you start that process, then, and you've done all this work and this self-reflection, I guarantee you your outlook on what it is you want, and that next person that comes around, it will completely do a 180. So certain things that we might have looked at, again, when we looked at stuff like, well, how tall is it? That shit ain't gonna matter. I don't know if y'all cuss on now, y'all pay, but that stuff's not gonna matter anymore when you realize, oh, well, the reason why I was looking for someone that was over 6 foot is because that's an example of security. That I feel safe. He feels like a shelter. It's stuff like that. When you start tapping into self and start understanding who you are, you start making decisions about the people you want in your life from a better place. So.
Grace, did you have a list when you were single looking for a guy?
Did I have a list? Yeah, I have some standards and certain things, deal breakers. Yeah, absolutely. But I noticed, and she hit it on the nail. When you do that therapy and that healing and that growing, and you do that reflection and you see yourself, it changes. And as we get older, our standards should change, because I don't want what I wanted at 20 at 48.
I
But
was
I do
straight
have some
foolish
deal
at 20.
breakers thank you. I do have some deal breakers that I won't not come off of, but then others are negotiable, and you have to learn how to compromise and reason, because you're not going to find the perfect person all wrapped up in a nice bow tie. You're not. You're going to have to take the good with the bad and the ugly. But it's very important. Like, healed people can tell who's been healed and done the work, whereas you can tell who's toxic. I'm not responsible for unpacking your trauma. I can help you unfold it and put it away, but I'm not responsible for unpack. That's something that I'll drive you to therapy. I'll read books with you. I'll do the exercises with you. But just like we're not responsible for each other's happiness, I'm not responsible. And a lot of women feel that, well, it's your job. You're my man. No, that man got his own issues and his own trauma he got to deal with. We can help each other.
Tell you that. Yeah, they'll even tell you that in therapy. The therapist will even tell you, I am not responsible for unpacking your trauma. I am here to facilitate your growth. Well, that's what my therapist told me. I don't know about anybody else, but literally, when you think about it,
that's different coping skills.
Exactly. You're responsible for even going through therapy. You're responsible for unpacking that trauma, and it hurts. I think that's one thing that I think sometimes when people's like, well, I'm gonna go to therapy, and they don't, that shit hurts when you're unpacking all that stuff, and you're pulling, and you're understanding, you're making the connection of, oh, this is why I make these decisions about men, is because it's coming from this space, and this is a result of that. That is a painful experience. And I think when people say, oh, well, I'm doing the work. No, baby, you're not doing the work, because you're still making the same mistakes when it comes to the people that you choose to engage in, when it comes to relationships. So, when you are starting to hit an apex in your growth, when the shit really starts hurting, because you're literally tearing off layers and layers and layers of clothing to get completely naked with yourself.
So what do y'all say to men who don't go to therapy?
Say that one more time.
What do you say to men who don't go to therapy?
I say the same thing that I would say to a woman. You are doing yourself a disservice by not understanding some of the actions that you may have done over the years, some of the pain that you're carrying. You're doing yourself a disservice by not exploring that through help, through behavioral health, or you're not doing anything if you're just sitting there. Because oftentimes, and I've talked to men about it, and their idea of healing is going to the gym, eating right, and it's normally on a physical level. Yes, you need that too, but when it comes to tapping into their employment assistance program, tapping into their insurance to see, hey, what does my behavioral health coverage looks like? I think therapy, even though we talk about it ad nauseum, is still something that's taboo, particularly for a particular age demographics like ourselves. People say they want to go to therapy, but their ass is not going to therapy.
I didn't say I wanted to go. I'm asking for a man who's not going. And
everybody needs to go. I mean, if you're of a certain age, you need to go. That's my perspective. Therapy has become more accessible to this modern society. There's not a reason why you shouldn't go. If you're sitting there and you're having the same argument that things are happening to you, then that is a strong indicator that you need and go and talk to the lady. That's my I would say. If you're constantly not taking accountability, you need to go talk to the lady. If you're pointing the finger at other people, you need to go talk to the lady. That's how you know when it's
so
time
liberating. Blue and Holly, is so liberating when you can be like, okay, why did this just trigger me? Mm-hmm. What can I do to make sure that it didn't trigger me? Because when you go to therapy, they teach you different coping skills. They teach you what your defense mechanisms are, and we all have them, and it's okay to have them, but it's how we utilize them.
Mm-hmm.
People throw things at somebody, they belittle them, they curse them out. That's just not cool. And that's coming from the bottom. Something has to be
Mm-hmm.
released, something has to change within you. Everybody's so busy telling, well, you need to do better, you need to do this. No, no, where is it? I keep one right here. You need to look at one of these and look at yourself in the mirror. What's wrong with you? Because while we're so busy pointing a finger at somebody, look, there's three pointing at us. Like, I'm about to start journaling. Everybody tells me start journaling. And when you go back and read it, you're going to see what a different, your mindset was this month and how different it was this month. And I blew it off a lot. But I went on Amazon, got me a beautiful journal, and August 1st, I am going to start journaling because I'm trying to stop other things. So I'm trying to feel the negative and fill it up with positive, because you can't stop doing something and not replace it with something positive. So Holly, you hit it right on the point. Blue, it's important because we're warped. Our values, our standards are warped. You want the ready-made man. You want a man to buy you a Birkin. You want this, you want that, but what you got? I was talking about that before you guys came in. You want a man to bring so much to the table, but we ain't bringing shit for vagina. That's not enough anymore for men. Men are waking up and being like, that's the one thing most is walking around in this world.
Grace, I take it one step further. I personally, this is my opinion. But I personally believe some of those things that you hear people what they want, I don't even think they know what it is they really want. I just think it's stuff that you see on social media and that you hear that you should want. Like, you should want this type of person.
It's a false sense of reality.
Yes, it's a false sense of reality, because, like, again, I'm like, I don't really think you know what it is to deal with this type of woman or this type of man. It just sounds great because that's what that false sense of reality is telling you what you should have. But that goes back to actually tapping into self, taking like several mirrors, use a compact, use a floor to wall sealer, do whatever you need to do to kind of figure it out. Hey, is this what I really want? I know I had that aha moment for myself when I was about to get married, and I didn't even like the dude that I was with. Like, I didn't find him physically attractive. I didn't find him. I'm like, what? I just, you know why? Because I was in this rush to get married. And I was like, well, he'll do. And I'm just like, I brought on all this unnecessary trauma just because I thought that I should be married before I was 40 and I was 35. And I took myself through all that foolishness. And because I was trying to meet a deadline. Yeah, a timeline. Mm-hmm. And come to find out, I was just like, ew. Like, I was moving out. I'm like, what in the hell was I thinking about? Now, I don't like to call people ugly. I just say I wasn't attracted to them. But like, I was really looking like, wow, I was actually about to marry him. Like, I got depressed because I'm like, was I that far removed from my sense of self? Yes, I was that far removed that I was ready to just settle with someone who was like, I'll marry you. And that's why I say you have to do the work to avoid.
Did you marry him?
That. No, I did not. Oh, no, I didn't.
You didn't hear the disqualification in her voice?
No, I did not. And it was like, when I think back to it, I had 73 red flags before I even got to that point. But because I was in that, I gotta get married before I'm 40. It was all or nothing. We'll figure it out in couple and marriage counseling. No, that's why I went left, because I wasn't even supposed to be there. But because, again, I was going off of what society says you're supposed to be, and that's what happened. That's why I say I will run my own race, not worrying about time. Time, it is what it is, but I'm not in a rush to just say I'm with someone just to be with someone. you know.
How long were you with
And
him
I also
before
learned
you
it's in
filed?
God's timing.
Exactly. We were together for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ladies. I gotta say something. So when any woman says God's timing, unlimited availability of time, I'm gonna push back on, hey, I'm not limiting our time. I'm limiting our mortality. That's why I'm saying I'm pushing for couples to be together sooner. I want you to have done the work. I want you to be a clear mind, and I want you, of course, to be attracted to somebody who loves you. Yes, but mortality is what's against me. Like I know we only have so long on this earth. Everybody has a start date. You got a dash. You got an end date. Now the one you only don't know one of them, but the other two, you know when it started, and you're in the middle of that dash. So I want more time, like I was telling you on the other side. I want more time with this person and available to make memories and know that whenever it's my time to go, I did everything I can do to pour into this woman and make the time that I have, and she pours into me. I'm like, hey, when it's over with, I'm smiling in my casket or wherever. I'm smiling. Listen, I know I was loved and appreciated, and I did everything I can to make her smile and make her feel worth. And men, it's because I'm over 40, men over 40, like, hey, I don't think I have the same amount of time. I was playing in my 20s and 30s. I mean, I'm married and divorced. But I was playing in my 20s and 30s. I hit 35, I was kind of like you. I think I need to stop playing and figure this out. I haven't done it yet, but my plan is to be married. My plan is to have a significant other. And I don't want to wait till I'm 50. I don't want to be one of those I'm not one of those angry men on all these podcasts talking bad about women. They don't do this, do that. No, I'm saying we have to compromise. We need to come together and we need to figure it out.
And I, you know what? And I can appreciate you saying that. And I can also recognize too, because it comes from your life perspective. Just like you mentioned on Instagram, how you got to that. And that, for me, living that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. But I think what happens though, and that's why we have to be mindful, and that's why people themselves have to figure out their own personal vision for them. Because again, if we go the train of thought of like time is finite and it's a mortality thing, then yeah, you're gonna have people moving in ways that may not be healthy for them. Well, vice versa, they might be looking at it from a man, hey, I got time, and that may not be their path. So that's why I say it's so important to really self-reflect and understand from where you're coming from. When I hear you talk about that, I feel that you got that understanding of self. You know why you move the way you move. And that that makes sense to me. But you got people out there that they're moving based upon what that funnel, that false reality is telling them to do, and not off of what they offer their own accord. That's all I'm saying with that. And I
Well,
mentioned I'm sorry, go ahead.
I heard it before, but it didn't
Mm-hmm.
resonate until I lost my father from brain cancer. Now, if he would have
Mm-hmm.
lost in some kind of other accident, but because it was brain cancer, because when I saw that he had whatever blastoma, I can't remember it now, but anyway, it was it was this big when it started, and then it came to this big, and he couldn't move forward. And he told us as soon as he was diagnosed, he said he has 18 months to live, and he lived almost to the T 18
Wow.
months.
Wow.
So it really hit me hard. It didn't hit me like I heard, hey, you shouldn't waste time. You should find a significant, like even my parents married at 20.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you need to find, I was married once, that didn't work out. And they said, well, you need to find you a woman. Don't live like, and I have a couple uncles who've never been married, no kids, no whatever. And I have a son. My son is 22. So they were like, well, you still need to find somebody to help you navigate this life and pour into her and find you a good woman. Okay, this is what my dad was telling me before all the bad stuff happened. And then he came across a couple times and said, what you waiting on? What are you doing? You just living life? You should be, because then I'm looking at him and my mom as a married couple that, you know, I see the fruits of their labor. I see what it is to have a 2-income household and the things that where they're able to save and the benefits of that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, this is different than what I am as a single guy. And I was doing well financially, but I wasn't doing that well.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to marry somebody for the finances, but I do want somebody to say, hey, how you doing today? How was work? I love you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
Right.
okay, I want that. That's the part, and I want it to be genuine. I want it to be sincere. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the part that after traveling for so long, because I've been divorced 12, 13 years. That's the part that I want. I want somebody to want me and want me the best for me. Not the
Mm-hmm.
financial part. That's going to come. That's easy. The
Right.
love, the I'm important to somebody. Hey, where you at? I haven't seen you in 5 hours. Everything okay? That's more important.
Mm-hmm.
That's because like when my mom was like, man, where your daddy at? And then oh, he's blah blah blah. And this was when I was a kid, or he's supposed to be back. Oh, I know he went hunting, or he went fishing, or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
case. So it was, and then with me and my ex-wife, we only lasted 3.5 years, and it took us
Mm-hmm.
6, 7 months to get a divorce. So that's why I say 4 years, because it was about the house, and we were done,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
still was whatever. Holly, somebody asked, did you want to have kids in the future?
No, no. I've never been one of those people. I've never been one of the women that were like, I really want to have kids. No, I knew I didn't want to have children when I was 25. So it's nothing that just all of us had sudden happen. It's happened over the course of time. And any person that I've dated, we were aligned. So, like for example, my ex fiance, we both didn't want to have kids. And I've dated men where either they already have had children and they okay with the ones they got, or two, they didn't want to have kids anyways, or three, they couldn't have kids. So I've always typically aligned myself with people where children were not a factor in the decisions that they made in terms of finding someone to share their life with.
No, listen, that makes a lot of things make sense. If kids are not on the table, then your time is your time. Now you're trying to find the right person for you that's going to love you, that's going to protect, provide for you, that
Right.
will die for you, and want the best life for you. Well, say, because I know you don't agree with the traditional moniker, but a
Hmm.
traditional man, if things aren't right in the household financially, then he goes and gets a part-time job. He will do the extra sacrifice for the family, you, the wife, to make sure that everything is okay. Make sure everything adds up. Make sure that you're in the house, in the car that you desire, to reasonable standards based on what his income, your income is. If you fall short, it's up to him as the man to make sure it gets right or fixed. Not saying that you can't help, but he's supposed to lead in front and go fix these things to the best of his ability. And if he still can't, there's nothing wrong for you to either push him or say, baby, I'm right beside you. But
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. I guess maybe it's the verbiage that we're using, because that person that you're talking about, that's my daddy. That's what I've known from, my parents have been married for 43 years. And when they tell stories from when they first got married, that's exactly what he did. He was, I grew up in a military family. He was in the army. And guess what? As a young enlisted person, he wasn't making all that amount of money in 1979, 1980. So what he had to do, he had to go bag groceries. So he was the one that, made it work. Even to this very day, my dad is now 69, and he still carries that. He still, oh, we ain't got this going. All right, cool. Oh, your mama wanted a Tesla. Boom, we got it. I made sure that we had to. Oh no, we ain't got no bill on that. We just paying it outright. So I get it. I guess there may have been a small disconnect in the designation of traditional and modern. I just looked at it as what a man do. So that's why I get confused when people be like traditional and modern, because like I just thought of it as this is what men do.
but no, so okay, I can't I can't succumb to that, because
Hmm.
there are two different. Well, there's multiple types of men, but I
Hmm.
simplified into two, because there's men who are not going to do that. There's men who are not going to lead from the front. They're going to say, "Hey,
Hmm.
man, this bill's short, baby. What you got on it?" And they're not going to
Oh,
voluntarily go out and go get an extra job. They're
okay.
not going to go get another part-time job. They're not going to pull from their savings. They're gonna be like, so the furnace went out or the AC went out. It's 2,500. You got your 1,250, and that's
Listen.
that. And I hear men say that. I hear men say
Hmm.
that this is the life they want. They want a partner to help with their mortgage, to share sex with, and that's it. They're not leading. They're not wanting her to lead. They want everything on the table. They want it 50-50. And that's why I designate the difference, because when I was shocked and appalled when I heard that. I was like, you tissue paper ass, blah blah blah.
In that case, then I understand the identifier. So thank you for clarifying that for me.
Okay. Now I wouldn't.
The thing is that women. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. We on the same page, so we good.
No, go
Yeah.
ahead. Women have been trying to fight for equality and want to be like men and do things that men do. Now the men are giving them exactly what they want. That's feminism. You want to be equal. You want to make money. You want to pay bills. But at the same time, they hollering you're a strong, independent woman. So a lot of men are saying we're going to allow you to be that strong, independent woman. That's where that thought process comes, because I have spoken to men in that age group. They fight, they act like men. They want to be masculine. They want to make money. They want to pay bills. They want to run the household. So we're going to treat them accordingly. And that's where those type of men come from. It doesn't make it right, but you got a woman hollering she's strong and independent, but you still want her to pay your bills and take her to dinner. So which one is it? I'm confused. You know?
Oh, no, I'm not. I ain't never called myself a feminist. I think that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. But feminism.
Well, no, I mean, like she's saying, there's women who, they want equal share, they want equal this, and it's made some modern men say, okay, well, I don't want the woman where I have to lead the household. I want the woman where we can split it down the middle. I want the woman who makes as much as I do. And they judge on the woman that they pick, not on her femininity, how soft she is, how beautiful she is, but the value of her dollar, her wallet to the relationship. And they say, okay, well, she makes 75, I make 75, I make 100, she make 100. Okay, let's put this 200 together. And then let's move forward. And then, like you said, like before you had your epiphany, you're like, hey, you know what? I don't even like this dude. Like, I mean, that must have been hard for you. Like,
it was hard because I looked at myself like, for real, sis. Like, literally, I was just like, I really did that, even now, I'm just like, wow, look at the growth, because I'm just like, what headspace was I in that I felt? Now, again, I'm not taking anything away from him, because he is who he is, right? It wasn't my intent to change him, but when I look at it, I'm just like, at best we might have been acquaintances. That's how messed up it was, and to be able to swallow that horse-sized ass pill is something. So yeah, I had no choice but to grow from that.
Damn, so okay, tell me if you don't mind. Was it just you're not physically attracted to him, or what? I mean, because you said you were with him for 2 years.
I was with him for 2 years. Like I said before, I look back at where I was as a person, as a woman at that time frame. And I hate to say it, sometimes you can have the wrong person come in at the wrong time. And that's exactly what happened. So we bonded through trauma, because because at the time I was living in Phoenix and he was on the East Coast in Philly. So already off rip, boom, you got a long distance relationship. You got two people that's trying to meet in the middle, different sides of the country. So already I'm feeling vulnerable being by myself. I don't know anybody in Phoenix. I'm just trying to figure life out. And then you got this person that's coming along, and he's hitting every button that's right. And while he's hitting every button that's catering to my heart, I'm missing every flag. I'm missing every flag that's being thrown on the plate. You got women that you don't know hitting you up on Facebook. He's still connecting with an ex. He ain't got this. He ain't got that. So flags was just like this. Like, it was just like, I don't know if it was a football game.
I thought you just said he wasn't cute. I didn't know there was red flags like.
Oh, that was not on top of that. I didn't like when I still remember there were times, especially when it got bad. I was just like, I don't even want you to touch me. But I'm trying to illustrate and paint a picture like that's how bad it was for me internally, that I didn't even know my own self, that I'm just like, well shit, this is just as good as it's gonna get. I might as well buckle up for the damn ride. And then that epiphany moment happened, and I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this. But unfortunately, time had passed by that I had done so much damage. And I think that's the number one thing, that there are women and men that aren't willing and ready to call themselves down on the carpet. When I did that, then that's when things started to lighten up. That's when things started to get easier, when I learned how to calm myself down on the carpet. And that was the biggest one right there. Like, I literally uprooted myself. I'm from Tallahassee, but I was working out in Phoenix, and I literally changed the trajectory of what I was supposed to be doing. I got offers to come back to the East Coast, to Atlanta, to DC, and I went to Philly because that's where he was. I completely uprooted myself for this relationship that went bust. Do I regret it? No, because it was a hard learning experience, but that learning experience got me to this point where you're talking to me right now. So I don't regret it. Do I say I put myself through unnecessary trauma? Absolutely. But I can't go back and erase it. It's become a part of who I am, my story, and how I'm able to share with other people, hoping that they don't do the same shit that I did. So,
Well, yeah, we most definitely want to listen. I know Grace has been through a couple of things. That's why she's trying to share the gospel and promote good relationships, promote healing,
yes.
and just say, hey, look, it's okay. It's okay to go through some things, and then just make better choices going forward. And she's not, I'm gonna let her speak for herself, but she's not on a timeline like you. She's like, hey, look, if it works out and I find this person and that does great, then yes. But she's not on like, man, I gotta find. You know what? She's like, okay, if it don't work out, I'm still gonna embrace the grace. I'm still gonna be me. I'm still gonna be this great shining light.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep on going. And that, I think that's okay. I'm not saying that, but I'm not saying it's not okay. But certain people need to realize. I always want to give everybody the spectrum of options. Like if you're a good person and you don't have a trauma bond and you want positivity from your future partner, then you should explore. But if you still need to heal, if you need to get therapy, you need to do whatever you need to do. And you think that every time that you get in a relationship is going to be toxic and you're the toxic person, then no, you should not most definitely get in a relationship with somebody, because if every time you get in a relationship it always ends and it's a problem, then the common denominator is yourself, not necessarily the other people. Because if they come in and say, hey, I really like you, I'm really concerned, I want to be with you, and then they seem like everything is good, but you keep on finding things that pick apart about them, then it's more likely you. And I'm not saying that's not a man or woman thing. That's just a person. That's a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. No, I just, like I said before, I think one thing that would also help for people to be more proactive in self-healing, self-care, self-reflection, self-awareness. I like that we're having discussions about going out and seeking that help, that professional help, that wellness help, whatever help is needed for you to be happy, healthy, and whole. But I also see, and I'm not referring to this conversation because I'm glad that we're talking about it and we're talking from a positive perspective. But what I've also seen on certain platforms is that when people say, oh, you need to heal, it comes off as very derogatory. And I'm just like, well, you saying it in the way you're doing it ain't gonna get them more, give them more inclination to go get that help. So I think collectively, when we talk about it, you just gotta come from a positive perspective, because sometimes people use it and it sounds more like a slur versus help. So,
I can say that for sure. Somebody told me one time that as a black man from the South, I need to go get therapy. And I'm a black man from Mississippi. Where I'm from, that was not a positive thing to say. That was
exactly.
Right. And I was like, so then I asked the person offline, like, what did you mean by that? Oh, I think all men should get therapy. I was like, well, you can't say that without a pretext. You just can't say that in blanket and say, hey, because I'm not easily triggered and I don't have a thing that I need that, the issue with my father, that's not a relationship issue. That was, I lost my father. If you, once you hit 25, hey, listen, life is not guaranteed and mortality is real. I lost both grandparents. Also, it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe this and that. Yeah, it couldn't happen to me before. I only had one father. So it didn't hit me the same way. But at the same time, that's not a relationship thing of, like, some men, I really hear it. They just don't like women. They're like, I'm not getting the results I want, or I'm not getting the woman I want. Y'all are trash. There's piss in the pool from the men's side. I'm just going to use y'all for sex and move forward. I never had that feeling. I'm a mama's boy, so I appreciate women. I love on women. And if we don't work out, okay, great. Best of luck to you. And what's up next, or who actually likes me, so I can see if I like you. Versus,
and I'm glad you said that, because you will hear that, but then you don't really hear men that don't have that same mindset even acknowledging it. So the mere fact that you just acknowledge, like, hey, there are dudes out there, they sound like that. That's not me. You got people that won't even acknowledge that incel mindset exists and won't call it what it is. So I'm glad you did that. So I appreciate you doing that.
Oh no, when I see guys on different platforms here on YouTube and or on Instagram, I'm like, I could be fine in the conversation. If they start talking bad about women, I'm gonna say, first of all, sir, I need you to change the structure of your speech. You can get your point across without insulting. And they want to talk bad, they want to. Well, how's that helping? There's enough things that are going wrong, and just speak positively and say, hey, listen, I want better outcomes for myself. I want better outcomes for women. I hope that they find somebody that's attractive, that's intelligent, that checks their boxes. Even though you kind of say, hey, look, it just depends on him today. But a lot of women and men have a basic outline of what they want, and you find what you want. Hopefully that person approaches you in some shape, form, or fashion, and y'all hit it off, and y'all have an opportunity to find love. But if you're going to say, no, I don't like women and their B's and their H's and their all this other stuff, and that's your actual aspect, and yeah, you're never going to get the outcome that you want. I want to speak positivity and manifest success and greatness. That's my thought process. That's what I want for myself and the people that are around me. I'm sorry, Grace. I want you to chime in. I know I've been on a rant for like the last 10 minutes.
No, that's fine. I'm listening. Trust me, if I have something to say, I'll chime in. But I mean, the conversation is good. It's just like we're so used to growing up where we sweep things underneath the rug. This is a family affair. Don't tell nobody. How do you not tell somebody that a family member molested a young female out of just little things like that? We cannot keep hiding things. We got to solve things. We got to communicate. And we got to get the therapy, because when we're doing a disservice to each other, then we pick up Pookies and Ray Rays, and then we have kids from Pookies and Ray Rays, and then we have junior Pookies and Ray Rays, and it's just a vicious cycle. I'm one of the first person to say I got the therapy, I did the healing, and I'm still a work in progress. I'm still working on it, and I'm gonna be working on it till the last day I take my last breath. I get checked a lot, but I get checked a lot gracefully now, and I don't get in my feelings about it. The first thing I think is, okay, where's this? Who's checking me? Why they're checking me? What's their intention, and what is the value I have in this person? So it's like, if I don't care what you think about me and I don't know you, then you don't matter. But if somebody matters to me and I value their opinion, I'm gonna shut up and listen.
And I find that to be especially helpful when you're in social media, you creating content, because you definitely, that's one thing since I've done this and understand where my growth has come from. When you're not unbothered by certain things that get said, that's growth right there. To just be like, I don't really care what you gotta say. I know. I mean, I'm like, I've had people say stuff. I'm like, That kind of hurt, but other than that, you keep it moving. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how you can see growth
Mm-hmm.
when someone can touch a trigger and you be like you can acknowledge it and you keep it moving.
So I want to ask,
Absolutely.
how do you see or spot a Pookie or Ray Ray, and how do you avoid Pookies and Ray Rays for the women?
Um, their mindset. If you're 40 years old and you still doing things that you were doing when you're 20, you're stagnant, you're complacent with mediocrity, you're not trying to grow, you still they see their mom do everything, so now they expect their women to do everything because they were never taught to do anything. And so that's it. You have 5 kids from 4 different women, so you just out here spreading your seed and not, like everybody thinks this Nick Cannon situation is cute. It's not. Yeah, you got the money to have all these kids, but are you really being a vile parent to all your kids? That's to me, it's the person's mindset, Blue, how I'm like, oh no, you're working and you're paying and you rather pay $300 on some Jordans, but rent is coming up next week. It's things like that. You're 40 years old and you're still not prioritizing. Those are the qualities that to me show me no, we're not gonna go nowhere together. My train is constantly moving, and you can either get on it and ride with me, or I'm gonna drop you off at the next stop because this bullet train ain't stopping.
I definitely agree with Grace. I think when Pookie and Ray Ray surfaced on social media, I think initially it was an aesthetic, but in actuality, like Grace just mentioned, it's an actual mindset. Because when I first heard it, it kind of came off as derogatory because trying to throw jabs at our fellow men in the urban areas. But like you said, Grace, it's a mindset. Because trust me, I done ran into attorneys that got Pookie and Ray Ray mindsets. I've ran into doctors with Pookie and Ray Ray mindsets. It's about it is really not being able to take accountability and having your priorities in place. So Pookies and Ray Rays are all over. They might be at
And
they
I
might
think
be at the they might be at the corner store. They might be on a golf course, but they're all
exactly.
over.
And I think for the females it's called dusties and hyenas. I mean, I don't know. We label but somebody who's done the work, who's healed, who's older and mature, it's like I recognize the red flags much sooner than I used to when I was younger, and I don't ignore them. I either get conflict resolution or keep it moving, but I do not continue to try to fit a square into a triangle. I'm like, okay, it's not gonna work. This is not for me. This person's not for me. It's not just in romantic relationship, in friendship, with coworkers, with family members. It's everything around you. Yeah, you got to keep positivity and negate the negativity.
So I do want to say
now
one
because
thing.
Polo keeps. Go ahead.
I do want to say one thing. So the definition of today 2023's Pookie and Ray Ray is more relegated to a man. The only thing he has to offer you is penis. He does not offer you any protection, provision, leadership, or shelter. Only thing he has, he doesn't have anything except for his penis because he doesn't have a place to live. He's a hobosexual, as in he doesn't really have his own apartment. He meets you, he wants to have sex with you, he wants to stay over. And that is in my circles, that's the guy versus the guy who, like you said, a doctor and a lawyer or whatever. Yeah, we're not talking about that guy. He might not be shit overall, but I'm saying this guy, he's having babies, he's spreading his seed, and he doesn't have anything to offer nobody in the community and or the woman that he's with.
Well, when we take the tangible aspect, going back to those same examples, when you take those tangible assets away, their profession and their income, and they still doing some trifling stuff like that, they may have their own home, but they keep spreading their seed. They may have their own, they might have their own bank account, but they're not responsible individuals. So that's why I said Pookies and Ray Rays can come in many different forms. I think maybe in the beginning it was kind of relegated to a certain aesthetic of man, but I just think that they Pookies and Ray Rays come the full gamut. They do. They come the full gamut. Like I've ran into, I've ran into men that some might deem high value because of the money they made, their social status, all that stuff. But to their core, they was a funky pookie. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't take care of their kids. They were constantly spreading their seed. They weren't responsible. They were reckless. That to me was just an irresponsible ass man. Take his money, take the status out of it. And that's what their core was. So
I was trying to acknowledge the fact that if a man can go through 8 to 12 years of education, I guess you can call him Dr. Pookie and Ray Ray.
You damn sure can. you can, yeah.
Okay, I'm not going, because I don't have to go through that. So there's no, for me as a man, there's no real equivalent, because women will tell you, hey, look, I like you for your money. I like you for your status. There's no hiding it. Like, hey, if you have money and status, I'm going to date you. And if you're not it, then I'll go date somebody else with money and status or power and influence. And that's not actually a bad thing for a woman, because like I said before, if all the man has to offer, his best quality is his wallet, power, status, then that's what he should lead with. He shouldn't lead and say, hey, I'm a nice guy just checking out, because he's not going to end up with anybody. Like I gave the example, the guy's 5'5", 200 pounds, looks like a bowling ball. He's a really nice guy, but nobody's going to talk to him if he's broke. You're like, man, she wouldn't date him because she has a height requirement. So he wouldn't qualify for her. He would automatically be disqualified. Not because of his size, just because he's not tall enough. And she's 5 foot tall. So she says, I have to have a man towering over me, like you were talking about. So she will disqualify, because this is a common thing I say, Holly. Women disqualify, find a reason not to move forward with a guy. A man, even if he has quality, even if he has value, he's going to find a reason to qualify, especially after 35. We're going to stop bullshitting. We're going to say, listen, I got to figure this out. I need to find somebody. It's not necessarily at this time limit, but I'm going to take off these. If I had 5 things I had to have, then I'm going to do 3. I'm going to do 3 and I'm going to be strong on those 3. The other 2 are now negotiable.
Okay.
More reasonable. And it's sometimes it's like, okay, I want her to have a large butt. I want her to have large breasts, or she got to be drop dead 10 in the face. Okay, now I'll take a 7 or 8. Or I don't need a D cup. I can do a C. Or it don't have to be like that. Or we'll modify, because we know that we're not the same value as we are before.
I modify.
And even if we make more money, you said you'll do 5'5"?
I modified, Blue. No, not 5'5".
Oh, okay. I thought you said
not
you did 5'5".
I did modify the height requirement, but not 5'5". That's too much. That's over modification. No, Blue. No. I went from 6 feet to 5'9".
You know he's still taller than you, right? It's a question. Do you know he's still taller than you, right?
Yeah, I know he's still taller than me. For the same reason that Holly said, how am I to me, I won't feel safe with somebody who's 5'5". I'm gonna end up, I'll probably have to protect him. No, I can't do it. I can't. I like tall, big. I never used to date big guys, and now I'm okay with it because I get cold easily. So come here. I used to date always basketball and football players, but I've modified a lot.
I love them all. If I find them attractive, I love them all. I've had my teddy bears. I've had my Slim Jims. If there was a physical attraction, that's the thing. That's why I say it's really challenging for me. Like in the situation with my ex, I knew I wasn't attracted to him. It didn't have nothing. I mean, it didn't have nothing to do with his.
That must have been
I just.
hard.
I'm not even going. We ain't got that much time tonight. Maybe another one, but and when I find you attractive, I love men. I love the scent of them. I love the different shapes and sizes. Like I said, I've had my teddy bears. I've had my Slim Jims. I've had my Paul E pockets. You know, like Polly pockets, but Paul E pocket. You know, so yeah.
I'm like, I can't even comment on the last one. I get all the other parts, but the short guy, and I like picking on her because she's 5 foot and she says she needs somebody 5'8", 5'9". I just find that funny. I explained to her in detail, hey, you're limiting your pool of available men that will like if a woman's like, I had this other conversation, and then we can end after this. But I like to talk about this to women. On my podcast, I had a conversation about women's sexual gratification, right? So I asked the question, what's important to you? I asked the women, what's important to you? You want to be sexually satisfied? Yes. Does the man have to have a large penis? So I had 20 people in there. All of them said yes. I said, okay, that's fine. Does that mean that you're sexually satisfied? No, it don't. Okay, so what's important? I told you, my sexual gratification. I said, does that mean the large penis? No, I told you that my sexual satisfaction is important, not the penis size. I'm like, that's not what you said. So then we kind of went a little back and forth, and they all said, well, look, me getting my orgasms, me being sexually satisfied is the most important thing. It's nice to have the other part, but it's not the most important part. Me being sexually satisfied and not wondering, all right, when you gonna get done is not. No, it's being satisfied. That's the most important part. I was like, well, y'all don't say that. Y'all say that you want the large. And they say, well, yeah, I thought it was the same thing. And then that was like 2 or 3. Then another 5 or 6 said, oh, no, sweetheart. This is women talking to women. Oh, no, sweetheart. I want to be satisfied. And, they came with the motion of the ocean. They came with blah, blah, blah. They're like, I don't care about all that. I want to get my stuff off. I want to have my orgasms. And the inches is not going to necessarily make it. And so then I said, okay, well, listen. And this is the wrap up. I said, well, if you as a woman say that you want that large member, and this guy who actually sexually satisfy you does not have that, do you realize that you disqualified him? Just like her saying that she only wants it, that the 5'5" guy is not good enough for her. And they said, well, I didn't think about it like that.
And that's the thing. It comes from a place of not, and that's a perfect example that you just gave, because technically, we've been, as women, we've been told it's that package, it's that size, that's what's going to give you that sexual satisfaction, when in contrary to popular belief, it really isn't. Because I didn't realize what sexual satisfaction was until I was 35, right? And so I think a lot of women don't really know until they really know, and you realize, well, that ain't like the whole entire part of the equation, because I got more nerve endings here than I got here. But when we talking about being satisfied, but the nerve end is right here, so why am I focused on someplace that the nerve endings ain't? But again, that comes back to not really knowing self, because if you know self, none of that is it's not gonna be an equation. It's more gonna be like a nice to have. It's nice to have it, but if I don't, I'm perfectly fine, because I'm gonna be sexually satisfied. So that's what I'm saying. That's what people do. They don't know what they want because they're basing it off of something that you've been told what you're supposed to have. You've been told that that's something that you want. And I'm like, y'all do know there's a lot of men out there, and they not packing this every time. Not everybody's like that. So it's like you gonna miss out on some good things because you waiting on this. And this don't exist for everybody.
That's not what Grace says. Grace says, along with her height requirement, pull it out one more time. Pull it out one more time. Grace says she needs.
No, I never said that.
What happened?
Grace, I know you didn't say that. I know you didn't say that, Grace. I know you didn't.
No.
We grown. I know Grace didn't say nothing like that.
Wow.
When I figure out this good, I'm gonna save that clip and be like, look, Grace, remember when you said, and then I'm gonna play it.
Okay. Show me where I said that.
Holly, I want to thank you for coming on both platforms. I really enjoyed you.
I'm glad you invited me. Thank you so much.
Always welcome. Please come chime in. If you have a live or a podcast and you want somebody to speak, you can volunteer me or Grace anytime. We would love to speak and add some content, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes, like you might have multiple panelists or whatever the case. Let us know. We'll be happy to help. I know it's all about supporting and having somebody who can talk clearly and have good light and have something to say is very important in this space. So I really appreciate you. And again, Over 40 Podcasts on IG, Over 40 Podcasts on YouTube.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. And I carry the same sentiment. And in this space, it's great to really connect with very like-minded people that have a thought, because oftentimes you kind of get into these tunnels where people are saying the same thing over and over again, or it becomes volatile. And to be on a platform with other grown people and having dialogue and discussion, and it doesn't, you ain't throwing jabs, it's very refreshing. So thank you for bringing me on. And again, I thank you for sharing the love, and it is reciprocal from my end to y'all. So I'll try to go live towards the end of the week, Thursday through Sunday. Probably going to end up going live tomorrow. And then, as I mentioned in my stories, is that new podcast episodes will start dropping on Monday. So.
Okay. Grace, I got to make sure I give you.
I just followed you on IG.
Okay, good, because I'm going to follow you back.
You're gonna remember me quick. But anyway,
Grace,
Holly, it was really nice to meet you. I just want to say that it was really nice to meet Holly. Her mindset is exactly where we are, Blue. And thank you for allowing me to co-host your show, Blue. You guys remember to like, subscribe, and share. Follow each other, because we out here in these YouTube streets really trying to make a difference and help people become better versions of themselves. Again, I'm Grace from Embrace the Grace. I'm everywhere. All you gotta do is put Embrace the Grace, and you'll see me on IG, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. Thank you for having me, Blue.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks both of y'all. I really appreciate it. And Holly, I did want to say one thing. You were vetted. I look at a lot of stuff before.
Oh, okay.
I don't play like because I saw you on a cast, and then I listened. I said, okay, she's attractive. Because like I hate to say it, I'm a guy, so she's attractive. Okay, cool. She knows how to speak. She's intelligent, and she has thought process behind it. Okay, cool. Now, then I go to your page, look and see. Hey, is she saying something? Or is she like, there's women who you act like they're saying something that is trying to sell foot pics. Okay, you don't qualify for me. I actually want thoughtful conversation so we can have this going for the next 2-3 years, and we're always sharing content and going back and forth. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for lasting, long relationships of intellectuals who want to improve the community on both sides. So yeah, I don't want you to think I was just random. No, you were vetted.
Oh no. Hey, thank you for vetting me. Listen, because honestly, that's my platform. I don't, like I said before, I'm very objective. I can share from my point of view, but I can also put myself in the opposite genders point aside of you too. So I think that's the one thing in having these conversations. You got to be that person that can come to the table and just be able to listen from another person's perspective. We're not going to always agree, but if we can have dialogue and discuss it and flesh it out, that's great. So I'm glad that you came across my page. I'm glad that I had a chance to meet you, Grace. And I'm all about connecting with like-minded people in this space because we got to clean up these streets because they became hell. The pandemic had happened and it became hella toxic overnight. So, and the thing is that it's a wonderful time to be a content creator because these conversations these dialogues, it's not going anywhere. People are watching YouTube now than they do regular television, than they do Netflix. I mean, I know I do, but you know. So like, yeah, I'm all about it. So thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, again, appreciate both of y'all. And my slogan is, this is the way. Have a great night.
Bye.
Have a good one. Take care.